just so you know.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Call to order the meeting of the Davidson County Election Commission, June 22nd, 2023. We are convened at the Howard Office Building, Sonny West Conference Center. And we have a 9-item agenda. Thank you all for being there. The first item on the agenda is to consider the minutes from our last meeting of May 30th, 2023. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of our meeting, I would like to, on behalf of the commission, express our sympathies to the Beck family. Mr. Beck appeared before us, and he conducted himself with the greatest dignity, respect, and inimitable sense of humor. And we appreciate the way that he dealt with the issues that we had with him. And I gather from the public comments that he was the same good-hearted and fine representative in his as a representative as he was in front of us, and we are very sorry to lose someone of his caliber. With that, please let us know, commissioners, when you've had a chance to take a look at the May 30th draft minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? With no opposition, the motion carries. The second item on the agenda is the June 15th, 2023 Tennessee House District 52 special primary election and the issue of certification. With that, we would ask AOE Roberts to give us a report from the staff concerning that election.
Mr. Chairman, included in your packet are the results from the Democratic primary and the Republican primary for District 52, the election being held on June 15th. We had one candidate in the Democratic primary and we had one candidate in the Republican primary. Both of those individuals will move forward to the August 3rd general election.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? With a motion, a second, and no request for discussion, all in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposition? The motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I'll pass around the sheet that we need everyone to sign instead of each one signing their individual. If we could get everyone to sign a single sheet, that would be best. And you'll sign for both the Republican and the Democratic primary.
Okay, so we sign twice then.
That's correct.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, while everyone's signing, we can move on to the third item on the agenda if you'd like.
Yes, as to item 3, that's to consider the candidates for the August 3rd, 2023 Tennessee House District 51 special primary election. Mr. Roberts, do you have any information for the commission on that item 3 of the agenda?
Yes, in your packet, you will see a line spreadsheet that has the candidates for the August 3rd primary for District 51. We have one Republican candidate and 2 Democratic candidates that qualified. Today was the deadline to qualify at noon. We also have one independent candidate. Their name isn't here because they're not on the ballot for the August 3rd, but they will be on the ballot for September the 14th.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? With no discussion, the motion is up for a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? With no opposition, the motion carries. Number 4 on the agenda is to consider a new public comment policy per the requirements of Public Chapter 300. Essentially, there was a state statute passed that applies to almost all government agencies as to how they should handle public comments. And I gather from the Metro Legal Department that that does apply to this body, and we do have a suggested protocol from Metro Legal. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at that?
I make a motion to approve.
Has everyone had a chance to look at it? Okay, all right. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'd like to add a comment for future consideration, and that is just that in instances where we are sitting as a quasi-judicial body, we might want to consider holding the public comments until after we make a ruling. I'm not suggesting that at this point, but it's just something to think about.
And one of the things we could do is in that situation, we could ask the individual if they'd like to speak before or after, right? If they're there for, if you're here for a residency challenge for whoever, would you like to speak before or after, and just give them the option?
We could, but then that would leave it up to the individual as to whether they would speak before or after. And there might be some issues raised about whether some people ought to be able to basically argue a case before we consider it. So
Let's deal with it when we get there.
I just throw that out there. I'm not suggesting that we modify these protocols or anything like that.
Great.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
You know, Mr. Chairman, I think that we ought to be able to hear from the public if there is some concern before we talk about the particular issue. Because there may be some information that the public has that we are not privileged to.
Okay.
So I kind of like to see those public comments ahead of time.
So you would say it's even more important if, in sitting in our judicial capacity, that we have the comments ahead of time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's some very basic questions. Being the new guy, I've talked to the council, and I'm pretty sure I understand. Basically, our current process is kind of the holdover from what was temporarily done in 2016 in terms of public.
Right.
And so basically, we're expanding it from 5 to 10 people and from 1 to 2 minutes, as I understand. Is that
Correct.
So, okay.
And I think it specifically says that the comments would be before
Yeah, yeah,
we take up an issue.
yeah. as opposed
When
to-
I think previously, at least most of the time, it was afterward.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
I thought so. I just wanted to appreciate
Okay.
your indulgence.
okay. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, let me bring up one thing that I would recommend to the commission is that this is a public comment period as opposed to a question and answer period, so that the comment period doesn't take over the entire agenda for the commission meeting.
Sure, okay, all right. With that, the motion is up for a vote. All in favor, yes, sir,
Mr.
Commissioner.
Chairman, would you state the motion again? I just want to make sure. we're
Okay.
clear.
The motion is to adopt the protocol provided to us by the Metro Legal Department, which is in detail in our packet of materials. I think it's a one-page memo in which they have taken the state statute and put it in writing. And I would add that I believe that the state coordinator's office has approved that protocol.
Okay, so, but we have the ability to put the comment ahead. We don't have to put it behind.
I thought that the protocol called for it to come ahead. I think the protocol does say that the comments come come at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, I just wanted to get sure.
Sure,
Make
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we have a motion, a second, and we've had discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? With no opposition, the motion carries. All right, that brings us to the issue number 5, which is the compensation for our administrator of elections and our machine technicians. Do we have a motion as to that?
Yes, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that the AOE and machine tech operators receive the maximum salary increase outlined in the budget that was approved by council this past Tuesday.
Okay, so the compensation has been put in the budget and it has been approved by Metro Council.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Is there a second to that motion?
I would say.
Second.
We have 2 seconds, so we have a second and a third. With a motion and a second and a third, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? With no opposition, the motion carries. Item 6, which is next, is the report of AOE Roberts. Mr. Roberts, can you give us your report, please?
In addition to the salary increases for Metro employees, the budget also included the improvement item that we requested to buy more equipment, essentially for the 24 presidential cycle. So we will be in the process of buying that equipment and getting it in place as quickly as we can. Talked to Ms. McPinkow today, and we have approximately 1,000 absentee ballots request in for the August 3rd election. So if that gives us any idea as to the turnout, it looks like we're going to have a pretty good election on August 3rd. That's it for me today.
What kind of equipment are we talking about?
So we're buying more ballot marking devices. We're buying more scanners. We're buying more electronic poll books. Essentially everything that we use early voting and election day. Just because, one, when we expanded the number of precincts because of redistricting, that caused us to have to outfit 18 more precincts. That uses up our supply of reserve equipment, and we want to make sure that we always have reserve equipment that we can deploy in the event of a problem, like we did during the tornado, where we can immediately set up a precinct in a school or at our office with our reserve equipment.
All right. Any questions from the other commissioners? All right. Item 7 is public comments. I think we do have at least one person that has signed up for public comment. Mr. Garrett? think it's on the right.
The button is-
There's it comes on in red.
Oh, okay, all right, it's on. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you guys. Election integrity has been an issue that's run around the United States and run around Middle Tennessee for the last several years. To that end, we at the Republican Party, the DCRP, have been very active in recruiting poll watchers, and we will deploy those poll watchers in August. There was a change in procedures from the Election Commission to the officers of elections dealing with their blank ballots. And then there was a law passed, Public Chapter 473, that gave me personally some concerns. My concerns about Public Chapter 473 was it prominently displayed? And my concerns about the procedures was that when we get a scanner, we now have a yellow, a blue, and a yellow seal on it. The blank ballots are in the bottom of the scanner. I could foresee in the future a location, an officer, not putting the red seal that you provide on there to seal that up, then, and that drawer, if you will, would contain marked ballots unsecured because it's not sealed. That was my concern. To that end, I asked poll watchers to attend the 22 precincts in the special election we had for Council District 52. I think we visited 17 of the 22. They didn't come to mind, but that was fine because I was ahead of that curve. But they did visit 17 of them. The reports that I get back tells me that in all cases, and I emphasize all cases, when they got there and when they looked, there was a red and a blue seal on the appropriate drawers. I am very comfortable with that. I am still not past zero. I have not let my concern level drop to zero, but it is down now into the single digits when before it was up into the high digits. But I want you to know that it appears that all the officers complied with that request, and for that, I thank you. And I think that will go a long ways to satisfy some of the concerns that we the public would have on procedures and having this. I understand the need to do that sometimes those lids get, now that I see how that functions, because I had never opened that up and seen it before, but now that I see how those lids function and how we have to put the box in and then open them back up and make sure it's open, and why you've done that change in procedures, I'm more comfortable with it. So all in all, it continues to support my belief that here in Davidson County, we do things on the up and up. I have no concerns about election integrity. I have no concerns about that here in Davidson County. And I've been very vocal to my friends in Williamson County and Wilson County when they bring up those issues. I say, guess it is not an issue here because I know the staff. I'm very comfortable with what their mindset is and how it works. So, gentlemen and lady, thank you very much. I do appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett, for your comments. Thank you, Mr. Garrett, for your comments and also for your service as a poll official. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mr. Garrett.
All right. We have to schedule a next meeting, and what has been suggested by the staff is Thursday, August 10th at 3:30, right back here at the Sonny West. Is that date satisfactory with all of the commissioners? We're good. Okay. All right. Good. Do we need a motion?
I'll make a motion to set.
All right. Do we have a motion? We have a second
You have a
by
second.
Commissioner Davis. With a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition? With no opposition, the motion carries. Item 9 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. We have a second.
No, I was going.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there
But I
further
do second
further
too,
business?
that's fine, but- No, I was just saying that, we will be locking we'll be locking provisional bags, on Tuesday, the 27th.
Right. That's next
Yeah.
next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday at 9 o'clock, so all are welcome.
All right. Yes, that's a public event.
Yes, it's
Okay.
a public event.
And that will be at our office out on Murfreesboro Road.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I failed to mention that included in your packet is your certificate from the state of Tennessee recognizing you as a commissioner of the Davidson County Election Commission.
Will we be having a ceremony or something?
I think it's going to be a private ceremony.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you all. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? With no opposition, we are adjourned, and thank you all for coming.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.